What is up, you guys? It's Max here, and in this video we're going to solve min stack in JavaScript. So for the problem description, they want us to design a data structure that supports the following methods: push an item, pop, top, and get min. They give us a small example over here, and they show us the paradigm that they like us to code this in. And so we set this min stack variable equal to a function. And what that lets us do is when we use these methods here, we set the attribute prototype, we set these these methods inside the attribute of this min stack variable. And so what we can do is then create a new min stack object, and whenever we were to apply something like this, items is equal to like an empty array, whenever we initiate a new object, it would have access to its own items array, pretty much. So if you're unfamiliar with this type of programming, this paradigm, I'm going to leave a great link in the video description below to a video done by NetNinja, which kind of teaches the nuts and bolts of this type of programming. But I'm going to split this video into two parts, kind of. First, it's going to be like visualizing how we could visualize this data structure in MS Paint, and then the second part will be how we could code that in our text editor. So let's get started with the first half. So if we were to imagine a bunch of books on a table, right, and we want to stack them up, we would place one book on top of the other, like this. And that is the method push. We'd push these books onto the stack. And then if we ever want to remove a book, we usually would remove the topmost book. So that is popping a book from the stack. They also want us to implement this top method, where you just look at the topmost item in the stack, which would be this item here. You could also think of it as an array, x, y, and z, where z is the last item in the array. Now this is opposed to another data structure, which is called a queue, where it's first in, first out when you pop things. So let's say we push things onto the queue, and imagine these are people that just showed up to McDonald's and they all want some fries and a shake. But X got here first, so X gets their order fulfilled, and then Y, and then Z gets popped from the queue. But that is for another video. Alright, in any case, let's get into the text editor and see how we could code this up. So what I'm going to do is, here, let me go back. Control A, Control C. I had already done this earlier, but what we can do is to create a test case, all we have to do is kind of create a new object. So we'll say let my object equal to new min stack, and we'll call it, and we'll just say console.log my object. So we'll kind of be our test cases down here. Test case. All right, and then we can later on test all the methods to make sure they work. So if we were to think from the top, we need an array. So we're going to set this dot items. So whenever a variable gets initialized as like a min stack object, it's going to have this items array. So if I were to console log my object right now, if I save this and I go into the command prompt and I say clear CLS, I will then node min stack. You could see that this my object has this empty array items initialized. So now we just need to make sure these methods work with this items array, because this is our stack pretty much. So for push, actually we have this push items to stack. There's a built-in array method that we can use. We could just use this dot items, so referencing that items array dot push. Here's the method, and we push whatever item we were passed. And that's pretty much it for this one. Next, if we would like to pop an item from the stack, well, there's another array method we can do that for that. So pop item from stack. But the thing is, we want to make sure that the stack isn't empty. We wouldn't even want to perform this operation if there's nothing in our stack. It's just an empty array. So we can make sure stack is not empty. And we could do if this.items.length is less than 1, excuse me, we could then throw a new error and say no items in the stack bucko, and then semicolon. And then we could just do this.items.pop, and that would be it. And that will remove the last most item in the array. Then top, all we need to do is return the last item. It just peeks the top item, so we would just do return this.items, parentheses, this.items.length -1. Boom. And now we also want to make sure that this isn't an empty array here. And last but not least, the icing on the cake with this getMin function. Now, what we can do with this one is we can use the math library and use this min function and take the spread operator of this.items. And what this does is, here, let me think if I can make an example here. Let's say we had this in the this.items array, right? So and when we call the spread operator on this array, it would pass in 1, 2, 3 as arguments. And since we're using the min function here, it would pick out 1 as the minimum, the lowest parameter. So that's what that does. And essentially, I think we would just want to return this. So return. And I think that's pretty much it. We can now test this by pushing a couple items onto the stack and just trying our getMin. I'm pretty sure all the other ones are correct, so I'm just going to try out our getMin method here. So these methods will point to the parent prototype. So I will do, let's think, my object dot push, let's just say 5, my object dot push 12, push, and it should return 1 if we were to do console.log my object dot getMin and just call it. So let's run this now. Gets 1. Perfect. All right, and it shows that this is the items array that's bound to this object. Now we're going to make sure that this checks out in LeetCode. Here we are. Paste that puppy in. Run the code, make sure it passed the first test case. Looks like we got it. Submit. Success. All right, sweet. That's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed. Feel free to leave a like on this video. I'm really active on Twitter and GitHub, so feel free to give me a follow there. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. All right, peace.